Namaskar. Let me begin by saying how delighted I am to join you today at the Model UN Conference, or MUN, organized by the Jodhamal Public School as part of its Youth Conclave. I want to convey my sincere thanks to Nandan Kutyala, my schoolmate and good friend, the principal of Jodhamal Public School, the MUN conference organizers, and others who have so graciously invited me to speak today. I am extremely encouraged to note that our youth of today are preparing themselves for a globalized world, asking relevant questions and seeking answers to crucial issues on global governance. For many of us, the UN symbolizes humanity's best hope for a discourse on issues of global importance and relevance, a global construct that plays a crucial role in addressing many of the challenges we face today on issues such as international peace and security, climate change, sustainable development, etc. Globally, its many institutions lend a helping hand to communities and countries that otherwise would be left to fend for themselves in times of distress. For the most skeptical, the UN would seem to be best described as a talk shop, one that holds a lot of meetings but does little, achieving even less. Others may question why an organization founded nearly 80 years ago still matters. Each of these views are relevant and valid. The UN, established in 1945 in the immediate aftermath of the Second World War, has largely fulfilled the larger mandate for which it was created: to maintain international peace and security, and to achieve cooperation among nations on economic, social, and humanitarian problems. As a young officer posted to the United Nations in New York, I was always struck by the inscription that lay on my path as I walked to the UN headquarters. And the inscription read as follows, I quote, "They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore," unquote. It is a quote from the Bible, and the symbolism is clear. The UN was the one place that could prevent conflicts and usher in peace and development in the world. We can all agree that the UN has lived up to its expectations for the first 50 or so years of its existence. It has prevented the outbreak of a third world war and has been proactive in intervening to prevent the outbreak of regional conflicts and conflagrations. However, today, almost 80 years since establishment, the UN is increasingly seen as incapable of preventing war and ensuring peace, the fundamental role for which it was set up. As we speak, war rages in Europe, something unimaginable even a few years ago, and disturbingly, the conflict in the Middle East appears to be moving beyond a regional conflict. If there is disillusionment with the UN, it is with good reason. Decision-making in the UN Security Council, the most critical and powerful organ of the UN system that deals with maintaining international peace and security, is mostly paralyzed. One or more of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council block or veto resolutions they find inconvenient or which go against their national interest or those of their friends and allies. As you are aware, the UNSC is largely controlled by the 5 permanent members: the United States, the United Kingdom, China, France, and Russia. These are the countries who were the victors of the Second World War. It includes 10 non-permanent members who are elected by the UN General Assembly on a rotational basis for 2-year terms. India was last in the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member in 2020-21. I was fortunate at that time to have been Foreign Secretary and had the privilege not only to participate in the Council after some 15 years when I was there last time in the UN, but also preside over some of the most critical sessions in the Council. India pioneered the first ever resolution in the Council on maritime security and played a critical role in the run-up to and the aftermath of the US withdrawal from Afghanistan. Any decision taken by as many as 14 members of the UN Security Council, reflecting a wide swath of international opinion, can be vetoed by just one permanent member. And this has to change. Moreover, the high table of the UN Security Council excludes the emerging powers of the 21st century, including India. If this were your student council, I'm sure you would speak up for the installation of representative, responsive, and result-oriented student body that would be seen to be working for you. Similarly, the global decision-making process has to be democratized, bringing more voices and more shades of opinion to reflect current global realities. Just as we demand accountability from governments and authority figures, the UN Security Council also needs to be accountable to the world on the decisions it takes as they affect all countries. This is one of the reasons why we, India, and our leaders, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, have been making a strong case for reformed multilateralism, including a revamp of the UN Security Council. What also needs to change is the exclusion of a huge country like India from the global decision-making process. Think about it, we are the largest country in the world with 1.45 billion people, but we do not have a voice in the UN, the largest global governance platform. The world sees India as a benign power working for the global common good, a country that is accommodative, a consensus builder, and a voice for the global south. I'm sure even you will recall that during the COVID-19 pandemic, many countries were focused on selling personal protection kits and other products they manufactured at exorbitant price in the international market, or hoarding vaccines for their own use. India launched the Vaccine Maitri initiative that delivered life-saving doses to small and big countries. We have been part of peacekeeping missions across the world, and our soldiers have laid down their lives in UN peacekeeping missions. Today, India's domestic success with financial inclusion, the use of digital public infrastructure, the ability to bring so many millions of our citizens out of poverty and deprivation is emulated the world over. Our concepts such as Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, lifestyle for environment, circular economy, advocacy for the use of millets, etc. are studied carefully. Many countries believe that if any country can provide solutions to the global challenges of the day, it is India. Dear students, in a world of vested interests competing against each other, the UN is still a beacon of hope, though a flickering one. It is incumbent on us as current and future citizens of the world to find a way to arrest the downslide and make the UN relevant to all of us again. As young people, you have a stake in the future of our world, and the UN provides a platform for your voices to be heard. So let us put our heads together and find ways to strengthen the UN as we work together to create a better, more peaceful and sustainable world for all. I wish your deliberations all success. It is through dialogue that we can find a way to bridge the divide that keeps us apart. Good luck and thank you for your patience. All the best.